where in the world you're joining from. We are excited to get our team together here and share lots of updates. We're doing this after quite a gap, but that's because there was a lot that we were building and organizing for upcoming announcements and updates in the next few months. We will go over all of that today. And just to give a quick hygiene check, just maybe Philip or someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, or anything needs to change. All right, thank you. Cool. So we have with us Alex, who is the CEO and co-founder of Unique Network. We have Philip, who manages dev relations at Unique Network, and then we have Esther, who is hosting the Unique Network Spaces. We also have Kevin somewhere on the call, who manages the community. So, all right, we'll get started, and I will hand this over to Alex for a quick overview about Unique Network, where we've been and what's next. And then I will cover my updates in a bit. Alex, over to you.
Thank you. Hear me good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Indeed, it has been a while. The summer, I realized that during the summer, people in crypto, they started to take vacations. There were a few events over the summer, indeed, including Polkadot Decoded. But other than that, a lot of people do take vacations and or focus on things to announce and work and uncover in the later part of the year. And that's what's happening. That's what has been happening with us. So since I guess the last call, just a little bit of recap of what's been happening over the spring, summer until now with this year. With Unique, we have won one of the last auctions in Polkadot ecosystem and prolonged the lease for its almost 2 years. And we will be same thing with Quartz we did earlier. So Quartz expires next March, I believe. So therefore we'll be going for the flexible core time early next year with Quartz. And then with Unique, there is no need to do it before the current lease expires. So we'll probably just leave it as is. There is no benefit in doing that. There's no much benefit. We'll try it out on Quartz and see how it works. Maybe play with it a little bit there, play with the scalability that gives and so on. But these are R&D things. These are not relevant to the production or adoption in any way. We are now doing a big update on Unique. We haven't done much on it since November of last year because we wanted to stabilize it and have it done, have it work for a while, see what works well, what doesn't, and to our pleasure, most of all of the things work well. The new upgrade is to catch us up with Polkadot upgrades, and one of the most important things being asynchronous backing, which should give us a much faster outputs. We did, if you guys remember, we did last year the speed test, performance tests on Unique, and when we did optimizations, we had over 5,000 NFTs a minute as a speed. We believe with asynchronous backing we'll probably double that and maybe even more. Parity saying 2 to 6 times more. We should be doing some internal tests on in dev environment soon, and then we'll see. But still being the fastest NFT chain out there, and with it having the scalability and everything else. Uh, the core of Unique, the main conclusion is that the core of Unique works very well. We are focusing on everything else. Everything else, well, there's tooling, and then there's ecosystem applications and kind of work we're doing. On the tooling side, we're doing more and more integrations with ecosystem-wide tooling. So there is no more need um, for our wallet, for example, because all the other wallets cover us very well. So we are slowly kind of depreciating it and kind of moving over to other wallets, which are much better. Of course, they invest all the money and attention to that. With the help of Wallet Connect, we'll probably connect hundreds of wallets. And MetaMask works very well. And so do, of course, the Polkadot, regular Polkadot wallets. The same thing happens with other tooling, except for the SDK, which is ours, which we just released recently. Well, I call it third iteration. We call it SDK 2.0, but simply because the first iteration wasn't really working publicly. But this one is even more powerful, and we're rolling it out slowly. Uh, it's not even visible to most people simply because it is a middleware that allows real developers who will kind of really come online, come in to develop stuff to finish the things that they want to do on the chain, and that is something that we're trying on a lot on hackathons. So if we can say we focused on something this year, that was the hackathons. The Charo and Philip can kind of attest to that. They handle it. I visited a few to see how people react and what they do, and I can tell that basically that is the venue that has proven to us and to the ecosystem, to anybody who's paying any attention, that we are who we say we are, that we are a blockchain with mature technology that is very easy to use. There are some examples where that guys will share on how that worked, but the bottom line is with these hackathons, the conditions are very demanding because these are people who are usually not familiar with blockchain, not familiar with Polkadot, not familiar with any of the stuff we do. And getting them to build something in 2 days, okay, is a challenge that we passed with flying colors, and that proves what we are saying, that it's very easy to work on Unique, and because we were working on that for 4 years. So we will continue to do that with all the hackathon kind of players in the ecosystem. We have some great ones, and we work with them with great pleasure. Must say, we kind of complement each other very well, and that is something that we were doing heavily this year, and will continue to do so, and even more, to become more strategic and to grow the ecosystem, both for us and for Polkadot better and faster, and so that is a big win-win, I would say, something that really works well in Polkadot. A lot of people in Polkadot ecosystem like to talk about what all the things that don't work, simply because the token price is low, but and because they're in bad mood because of that. But actually, when you start kind of dissecting one thing by another, there are a lot of things that work really well, and hackathon is one of them. So we are kind of proud supporter of that direction, and a beneficiary. We get a lot of new projects this way. This year we also did some kind of high profile stuff. So for Connor Daly, we did hero cards and the Polkadot Loves Connor campaign. He loved it. He enjoyed it. And I had an opportunity to see people on Indy 500 race claiming our NFTs there as hero cards, explaining them what they are, what the hell is NFT, and how does that work, and so on. So that was something special. Uh, Another project that's worth mentioning, and I believe Char will talk more about it, is Sovereign Nature. They've created some dynamic NFTs for in the ecosystem as POAPs. Um, then there's a lot of stuff happening with Codecraft, and I'll leave to Philip to kind of cover that, and to Char. Uh, some, and then there are a few things that are coming up. Okay, first thing coming up will probably be the Polkadot app. You might have heard Bjorn has announced it on the Polkadot Decoded, and apparently is working on it. And our NFTs should be and will be the part of that. We've done already some form of integration on our side, and then they need to finish a number of things on their side before they can let this in. But we should be part of that up as soon as it goes live. So that's a very symbolic and nice kind of thing for us, because it again, it proves and shows that among the mature substrate technologies, we kind of cover everything. There's another project that is really big. Don't know if any of you have noticed, but there was a referenda where gaming company Tap Nations has applied to get funding from Open Governance. This was a few months back, for bringing in 700,000 users to Polkadot. Well, guess what? Well, they got the money, they got the a grant, but those 700,000 users are coming to Unique. We already started working with them on making the user journey the way they want to design it, and in the best possible way. We're trying to collaborate with ecosystem kind of members on that as much as possible, so that others benefit from it as well. But basically, what I can tell you about it, that come in a year, Unique will have 10 times more users than it has today, because we now have about 70,000, 60, 70, 80,000. I don't remember exactly the number of token holders and kind of, users at the single time. We'll have 800,000 by the time next year is up, for sure, just from this one project. So if we're talking about adoption, uh, we're taking two-pronged approach. One is Codecraft and hackathons than Codecraft, because very often winners from hackathons go to Codecraft, where we identify the projects in their beginning stages, and then we try to help them grow by launching something with them, but then taking them to other sources of funding, and helping them grow with a unique strategy for each one. But the second one is big projects, as I mentioned, Dev Nations, Polkadot Up, those things. They will bring us much bigger traction next year, and we are attempting to participate in every kind of bigger thing that is happening in Polkadot. With some, we get it; with some others get it. That's normal, but we are getting our fair share, and that's that that's great enough for us. So, I hope that come 2026 we'll have million users. So, this is we're talking order of magnitude and more of growth, which is what everybody can only hope for. Uh, One other very important thing that is coming up. We've been working. Well, we came up with the idea about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, November last year, when Polkadot decided to decentralize. We came up with the idea of creating an NFT collective, which would be an alliance of NFT projects in the ecosystem to kind of combine jointly and do things together that will make overall Polkadot be much more attractive and be much more efficient at attracting and delivering projects built on Polkadot on any of its technologies. Looks like we are finally getting traction on it, and we are hoping to to launch that in Q4, hopefully soon enough. And if that happens, then you will hear a lot from us because we will be leading the effort, at least initially, completely, and then we will start engaging all the other ecosystem members uh, about stuff that relates not only to NFTs on Unique, but NFTs on Polkadot. There's a lot of things we're doing in preparation for that, but once that gets going, I think that Polkadot in general will have uh, a much better attractiveness to projects small and large because the system will be in place to support them, to explain to them, to tell them why they should be in Polkadot, um, and will have the means to support them to succeed and for them to succeed. Hopefully, then year from now, that will show results in terms of traction, in terms of growth, in terms of all the things we're just striving for. So, as the first project that initiated my thinking on it and our thinking on it was the NFT XCM, which is another big project we're working on since last year, basically. We have won a large grant to complete that this year. We got it in January, I guess. And we have announced recently the public access dev environment for that. The code for that is ready and is has been in review by Parity since July, I believe. Um, and there is some slow progress on the review. There has been at least one or two rounds. And we hope that by the end of the year, those reviews should be done, and then NFT XCM can go into production. Now, with Parity, production is very uncertain in terms of unpredictable until certain people say when things are going to go. You never know. So, I cannot tell you when NFT XCM will be live on Polkadot in production, but it's live on the DevNet, and developers who first need to take a look at it will take a look at it. Now, this is for us a very strategic project. It is something that doesn't exist anywhere else. With all the blockchains, you have bridges, but here, NFT is a different kind of technology. I call them tunnels, okay, or I don't know, some other form of streets rather than bridges, because the level of security is much better on bridges. It is almost they're almost unbreakable, and the speed and the kind of efficiency of the process is completely different level of integration, which is key to Polkadot's interoperability kind of story that they came up with originally. And with our addition, people will be able to move NFTs around a lot. Now, nobody has that. Not too many people use bridges for NFTs as is. There is some usage, but a little. So when we launch it, the product is uh, one of those build it and they will come. It is more like it will. We will look for experimental people who are ready to experiment, people who are ready to try new things and be very innovative in terms of uh, how to use that capability in the future. There are already we have already launched on Sub Zero earlier this year cross-chain NFTs think tank, basically the collaboration with other ecosystem partners, players, to brainstorm and come up with good use cases for uh, cross-chain NFTs. There are some initial ideas. I don't know, like so from simple ones like Akala has issued NFTs for their crowd loan, and they don't have a marketplace. So sending them to Unique or sending them to Moonbeam or sending them to Asset Hub for trading will be possible after this, where actually people trading NFTs are supposed to be hanging around. Uh, that's a simple use case. Much more, much deeper, and having more than technical barriers, but much more interesting is probably having some of the assets issued by centrifuge, like U.S. Treasuries, traded on some of the dexes in the ecosystem. How about that? That sounds to me like potentially useful product. I don't know if that's possible from the legal regulatory perspective, but technically after NFT XCM goes into production, it will be because they can issue the treasuries on centrifuge and trade them elsewhere. These are just initial ideas. There will be many, and but again, do not expect gazillion kind of users to come after this. It is something that is cutting edge technology and brand new, and uh, it will be in that R&D mode for a while until it finds the right use cases and support. Uh, to finish, a couple of more things. The We have been very active in Polkadot OpenGov initiatives, and we participate in that. We have a large stash of dot ourselves that we got on during our public sale, which basically we have it all and we have more. Uh, we use that to vote and to improve, hopefully, to improve the governance of Polkadot OpenGov DAO, and would encourage all of you to partake there, especially when there are proposals that are relevant to us, of course. And then, last but not least, about a year ago, we branched out into services as well, into mostly software development services. NFT XCM is being done by that branch. There are a few other technical projects being done as well. And if NFT Collective happens, that will be the branch that handles it. But the idea here is that we have accumulated a very deep expertise in something that very few people know in the world, and that is advanced NFT use cases. And plus, we have a great expertise in substrate, in Rust, and related technologies, which are in high demand actually globally. And by providing services, we earn revenues which help us to increase our runway and kind of not spend any more investors' money, but earn our money. And we do that now all the time. And we are actually hoping in next year we will break even, which is kind of very rare in the blockchain space, where you have a blockchain company that that earns money. Usually, you just get cash for tokens and then kind of invested in building the technology and ecosystem, and that's it. But here we're trying to extend that and make it last much longer, and to build out that expertise more and more, because when you have bigger and bigger, deeper expertise in things, then people respect you much more, and you actually get bigger and better opportunities. So, and we have been extremely successful with that, I'm glad to say. And that's why kind of During this bear market, a lot of projects have simply closed, died, or some of them have moved to other chains where they gave them some money to survive and so on. We didn't have to do any of that. We are alive and well and continuing to lead NFTs in Polkadot. So that is my kind of recap for now. In terms of the future, I do expect, as I said, very large growth of user base for the next year, and hopefully after that, the token holder count and kind of interest for that will come as well. But it is necessary the adoption part is necessary ingredient in any case, and that's what we were working on very successfully, and that will continue and to grow and actually accelerate. With that, I would close out and come back for any questions, but I would give to Charo to lead further.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, indeed, there's a lot going on. So thanks for covering everything there. I'll just double click on a few elements that you talked about and then go over to some event and other updates. For the NFT XCM announcement, this was during Polkadot Decoded and the Token 2049 week that we announced about the development environment being available for developers to test NFT transfers between the Asset Hub and Unique Network. That's live, so you can register your interest if you're a developer and would like to test that through a form. We've been sharing the form link. We'll post it again. And this news actually gathered a lot of media coverage as well, which was interesting because overall in the market there is not a lot of great news around NFTs or progress in terms of technical developments, but we have many of these updates coming up. So it received great media coverage during the token week. Ivan on Tech highlighted this as well in his usual video conversations. So that was a good highlight. And you can expect more updates to be released in the coming weeks. There will be a small interesting update going out later today as well. So that's about the NFT XCM. In terms of while we are talking about events, we also participated in WebEx Tokyo end of July, and this was also combined by a side event organized by Polkadot, which was a pretty interesting evening where Sovereign Nature Initiative was giving away, or you had to sign up for dynamic NFTs. So people loved that. That was an interesting experience for everyone who came for the evening event, did sign up. And Sovereign Nature Initiative has participated or kind of delivered NFTs or POPs proof of participation in about 8 Polkadot events. They started from Polkadot Decoded earlier at Brussels. So in total, 1,276 NFTs have been minted by SNI, and they continue to participate in more events throughout the year. That's driving some traction and attention, and these are really cool looking NFTs. We also, as Alex mentioned about the Corner Deli Insider Pass, it was a great experience to run these activations on track, on the racetrack with the audience. A lot of rain during the race day. On the race day gave us an opportunity to talk more about the Insider Pass to people. And since the sign up was very simple, we also found out that someone 70 years old claimed the NFT. So that's where we are hoping to scale, as Alex said, with Tap Nations, scaling the adoption from Web2 users. And that's been our focus overall. In terms of, we also ran a few campaigns around Corner Deli Insider Pass, and as of today, I think we have 703 NFT mints for the Insider Pass. So, and we continue to run more campaigns around that. In fact, one of the latest campaigns on Zealy got us a lot of some 2,000 people who participated in that campaign and took various actions around the insider pass, around engaging with assets from Polkadot and by Connor Daly. So that's been exciting for the community, I would say. Um, in terms of hackathons, again, a great amount of energy, and Philip will talk more about it on as to why we get great response after every hackathon. But we earlier in the year during Consensus in Austin, we participated in the Angel Hackathon and the one by Easy A, Consensus Hackathon, and then we participated in another hackathon by Easy A at Harvard University. And Chris from Learn Polkadot was there supporting us. So thank you, Chris. We heard great things about your support, and we got great outcomes from that hackathon around developers who build race-based games using unique network NFTs. And Philip will again double click on those winners. So hackathons has been one. We during the last community call, we talked briefly about the Codecraft campaign, and we've come a long way. We've received 80 applications and we've approved 12 of them. And this is, I'd just like to give a very quick summary of what it does. The aim for this grant fund is to give out the grant in small chunks for developers to test out MVP, and we kind of, in very simple terms, we say build one user journey, which is your MVP, and we help the developers test that user journey or that MVP with our community. So it's an end-to-end support, right from the build to the community testing. And that really becomes a basis for your next horizons or next conversations with VCs to kind of grow your project. And the most interesting part about Codecraft Grant Fund is we are seeing some real interesting applications using NFTs. So none of these applications are about pure marketplaces or speculative assets. These are very advanced digital assets, and they're all using advanced features of NFTs. And Philip will dive into a few examples, some of the most interesting ones. So we can't wait to share these campaigns with the community and help you kind of or get you aware of the latest around NFTs and the most interesting, innovative projects. So that's it's going well, and we continue to sort of amplify the fund. And if you're a developer interested in building on something around NFTs, feel free to apply for that. During just coming back to Polkadot Decoded that happened in Singapore, that was a great opportunity for us to interact with other parachains and projects in the ecosystem around the topics that Alex mentioned, around NFT XCM, around the NFT collective. In my presentation, I shared all these details there. And while we announced the dev environment for NFT XCM as well. And the very interesting thing was, as Alex said, that we are a mature project in the ecosystem, and there is a lot of openness now between parachains and projects to kind of work with each other and leverage what we all have as individual parachains. So you will, in the coming months, you will see a lot of kind of partnership and integration with different parachains, given the construct of NFT XCM and also hopefully the NFT collective. So that was a highlight from Decoded. And then what else? Yes, the NFT think tank that Alex mentioned, this is really the opportunity for us to deliver on the real potential of NFT XCM. So we are delivering on the technical milestones, but to fully realize its potential, we need to create these use cases and brainstorm these use cases. So as we have the development environment ready, the production environment coming in, as it's kind of approved and ready as well, we will initiate, or we have already initiated conversations with different parachains to come up with cross-chain NFT use cases and examples. And so that's something that we will be focusing on more and more on the applications side. In addition to that, I guess these are the major highlights. And Philip, I will pass this on to you to give us some interesting updates from what you're seeing through the Codecraft recipients and your observations there, your favorite projects maybe.
Oh, get ready for a fast track. I've got a lot of things to say and interesting ones at that. So look, as a developer, my main goal is actually to convey information, to communicate, right? And the biggest problem with communication is like when you have something which is hard to believe, which is like telling developers, look, it's really easy to develop on unique network, and the development cycle is really fast if you use the SDK. And everybody goes, no, well, we know blockchain. There's no way. Yeah, right. Like either coming from Substrate or coming from Solidity. It really looks like that. But what happened on the EZA hackathon, which is what I wanted to segue in, was we submitted a challenge that was race oriented, and came the day when we were supposed to review the data, and we got inundated with I think about 30 and something submissions for us to review. And I noticed that only 10 of them were race related. I went back to EZA and said like, hey guys, we've got very many submissions that are not related to our challenge. What's going on? And they were like, actually, you know what happened? What happened is that your workshop was so successful in communicating that it is easy to develop on a unique network, that everyone took the bait and actually chose unique network as the platform to develop their idea of implementing NFTs for their project. Now, this is one of those moments when you really, really get excited and say like, oh, this is like a dream come true, in the sense that this is actually the message coming through and being accepted by the developers. And this is what really happened at EZA. And stemming from that specific hackathon, we had a great many of the Codecraft programs coming in, even though not all of them were even winners in their respective categories. It just opened up a door to the implementation of the NFTs. Now, the point with this one, which I'd really like to underline, and is the really, really good effect of engaging in hackathons, is the message is getting out that it is actually, in fact, easy to manipulate very complex NFTs with the unique network, and it takes you a significantly smaller time to develop something very useful. I'm so happy for that message. That is the result of the hackathons, and plus the ideas I'm going to touch upon, which are really crazy. But to segue into the story of ideas, I have to touch upon something that Alex said that was related to advanced NFT implementation. It has to do with the paradigm shift that we're trying to introduce, where actually you should observe NFTs as database records, actually sovereign database records. They're collections of data that live in your wallet. They're yours, they're your ownership. They're a cluster of data that allows you to perform something on the network. That is what the NFT paradigm, the change of thinking is. Not a tradable asset, but in fact a database record. Now, this opens up a door to many phenomenal implementations, and this is what we see from the Codecraft program. And I'm going to touch upon some of those projects really quickly. not to overstay. And before I do that, I have to say something also interesting. In one of the hackathons that we participated, the G6 network had hats off to them for participated. We had a challenge which was very interesting, which unfortunately it was a very short hackathon and not many submissions came in. But one of the developers from the G6 network actually said, "Could I have a try at this challenge? It's very interesting." He actually did, and we published recently. Esther will probably share has shared with everyone on Twitter the story of how actually one of the developers took on the challenge and resolved a very interesting solution of how to actually obfuscate data on the blockchain but make it available on any application. So this is the kind of things that Unique Network is solving with the challenges at the hackathons. They're core questions. They're very interesting. They're very kind of, oh, wow, that's a strange question. But these are the solutions that we're getting in, and we're getting a really good response from developers in tackling these challenges. But more than that, as I wanted to segue into the story of the participants, the projects that we're seeing are demonstrating how this new idea of what NFTs can do is being implemented. So I want to give a shout out to Softlaw, which implemented an intellectual property tokenization concept, which was essentially you will have an interface where you can provide an idea or a technical solution or like a patent or something like that, and have it actually encapsulated in an NFT in a blockchain as a permanent record of a creative kind of action. And also this allows also the possibility of cross-referencing such a creation with other solutions for the question of is this an original idea and so on. So it's a very interesting concept. The interesting thing is the NFT that you get is actually your own tokenized intellectual property statement on the blockchain. Very interesting concept. Apart from their idea, we have Music Moon, which has implemented tokenization of music, but from the creator's side. So it is in trying to bring in as many creators, music creators as possible to create albums, collections of songs, concepts, and it uses the advanced concept of nesting of unique NFTs, which allows them a seamless mechanism through which they can create albums, playlists, and so on. There is the idea of Chess on Chain currently as a part of the CodeCraft program, which are developing a chess tournament game in which the NFTs which you own provide not only the history and the statistics of use, but also provide you the capability of having custom playable chess pieces and so on. There is the idea of coupon craft, which are using the idea of refungibility applied in the context of coupons that are used in markets and so on. There is the idea of a Dragon Soulbound using an idea to provide the tokenization of identity without providing any core identity through the presence on the net, as a way to access whole territories of playable games where your identity carries through the games and so on. So there's so many ideas that are stemming from this core concept of an NFT being actually a database record which can be applied and owned in your wallet. I'm closing with an interesting concept I want to just say, that is, all of these projects will have MVPs which will be available to the audience, to all of you. And we're calling this kind of campaign where we announce that somebody has completed their project and has an MVP. We're calling you in, all of you in, to jump in and test their product, give them feedback. There will be prizes given. All of the teams that are creating these playable, actionable little MVPs and games, if you engage with them, you will probably have a prize waiting for you. And we're calling this idea like the CodeCraft Fair. And we want you to be part of this Codecraft Fair. Jump in, have fun, see what all these teams are doing. Some of them ideas will blow their mind. They're all early, pre-alpha solutions of what their great ideas are, but it's a case for them to showcase what they intend to do with their final product and how actually the unique network NFTs are implemented in that context. And I promise it's going to be a lot of fun just clicking around and figuring out how it all works. And therefore, I'm calling you all to participate in that, and we'll make it visible the moment we have a team up with solutions, and it's coming up very quickly. So I'm closing with that.
Great, thank you, Philip. So yes, Codecraft Fair is another exciting series of campaigns. It just gives you an opportunity to experience the earliest innovations in NFT on Unique Network. So I think yes, so that is all from me. Alex, do you have any other topics you want to touch upon or any other comments before we go over the questions that have been raised by the community?
No, questions time.
All right. Okay, so first question is plans for unique adoption incentives and timelines for them. I think we covered this very well when Alex was talking about the Tap Nations project, the Polkadot app, and a few other projects that are in pipeline, and also working together collectively as NFT collective for all NFT parachains in the ecosystem. So that will drive the adoption in terms of timelines. I would say that from an FTXCM perspective, we are on track with the timelines promised on Tap Nations. This year we are working on the build phase, and you'll start to see the numbers, as Alex mentioned, in the next year. And incentives is yes. So I would say that stay tuned to all of our campaigns. Kevin from our marketing team keeps campaigns live through Sparkfest and through various platforms. So that's interesting. We are going to scale those campaigns even more. The Codecraft Fair is an opportunity for you to participate in the latest on NFTs and then earn incentives through participation and through giving your feedback. And then yeah, so those are some of the things that you can look out for. Alex, anything else you'd like to add on that?
Well, as I said, we have two-pronged kind of strategy for growth, for growing the adoption, and that is the kind of small startup ideas. Get many of them, get as many of them as possible. Get very innovative, and that is something that this year I would say has become a serial effect, so that when we publish the case studies at the for this year, you will see endless supply of something that probably nobody else is doing, or has is kind of very rare, and that is something that I think we will continue to do in the next years to come, because collecting those case studies and showing how things work, that will wake up and the bigger projects to experiment. And that is the second part of the strategy, is covering the bigger projects. Some of those that we're doing are not necessarily that innovative, but are they always have something, a little bit of innovation in them, but they are designed to prove scale we can do, and the professionalism and the services and the robustness and the reliability of both the blockchain and the services associated with it, because that's what it takes to win really big deals. So we're taking that step by step. There is no way around that. And, by building small and bigger as we go, we hope to have enough bricks to build the castle one day. So that's the strategy, if you, in short nutshell.
Great, thank you, Alex. The next question is, what is the status of technology that Unique Network wanted to build, and how does it compare to competition on EVM and even Polkadot? Alex, do you want to take
Yeah,
this up?
sure. As I said, we're, mostly we are done. Okay, we have blockchain that's been working without any upgrades since November last year. We're just now working on the next one. We batched it. Blockchain works great. The tooling works even better, as demonstrated on those hackathons Philip was talking about. People love it. The tooling we have is so good that it actually, we in scope of enlarging the overall pie in Polkadot ecosystem, we will be pushing for unification of the tool sets and kind of approaches and consolidation. And I bet that a lot of stuff we build will become common standard across the Polkadot because simply it works so well. We invested a lot of money into it, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of trials, a lot of case studies, a lot of everything, and they're tested and work well. So if you ask me if the state of tech, I would say, we built, and Unique is now as a technology, it's fairly mature. I think it's as good as any other chain in NFT functionality or better. That's the kind of overall position I'm in now. Okay, Chair, can we get other questions?
Oh, sorry, I was talking
Uh-huh.
on mute. So thanks, Alex, for that. The next question is on CodeCraft grants program. So the question is, what are your plans with the CodeCraft grant program? Why only $5,000 per team? It is a very low amount to get anything done. This is a very good question, and we get this question often. So I'll share some context, and then Philip will also help dive deeper into this a little bit. So we continue to accept applications. As I said, we've received 80 applications and we've approved 12 so far. First of all, the criteria here is to look at applications that are interested in leveraging the advanced capabilities into their idea. Now, their entire application or their startup that they have in mind does not have to be about NFTs. As long as they have a specific user journey or an idea that uses advanced NFTs and can be converted into MVP, that's what we are looking for. We are looking for clarity on that element. We are also looking for clarity on what is your user journey and how do you visualize this specific feature being used by the community or end users? Because we want to simulate that and roll that out as a campaign within the CodeCraft fair that we talked about earlier. So that is the only criteria. So the expectations are not high. It's a very limited in scope, but actual proof points that you can create for yourself as a brand new startup to take these conversations to maybe your angel investors or to the next horizons, right? So this is really a foundation for you to experiment and gather proof points, gather points that showcase some level of success and implementation for your future pitches. So that's the intention. Also, the Unique Network SDKs, as Philip mentioned, and we've heard this time and again after every hackathon, they're just very easy to use. So it really does not require you a lot of time to build. But the critical component is how do you visualize that MVP to be used by your end users? And we fully support you in that as well. So that's the scope. And I would just also add that it is not just 5,000, or it's not restricted to 5,000. It can be 6,000, 7,000, but depending on the use case, depending on the traction you expect to achieve, and depending on the kind of features that you're trying to build into that MVP. So it's kind of a case by case basis. And then also it is driven by milestones and timelines. So I will pause there. And Philip, do you want to dive deeper into this? Because we discuss this all the time with the applicants.
Yes. So the main point here is like really important point is essentially the CodeCraft program is not an angel investment program. So when the teams come, they have a vision of trying to complete their complete project, which always consists of the engine, the details, the UI, and also the campaign and so on. But this is not what the CodeCraft grant program was created for. And I want to use the opportunity to actually clarify the idea behind the CodeCraft grant program. Most of the teams that are going to be implementing the NFT solution take it in as an afterthought. It's like in many games, it's not really clear what an NFT could do. And in many other cases where the user journey is kind of clear, the concept is there, but the very function of the NFTs and how they will be implemented in that user journey is unclear. Now, the CodeCraft program was specifically tailored to answer the question of one thing. Look, to discover what parts of the NFTs are going to play in any application, in the application that one is developing, you need time to figure out what the NFT is going to do, what code you're going to implement, what is the dynamics of it. The CodeCraft program was conceived as an idea for us to fund that time with the grant. So it is just a segment of a development journey of an application, and we're openly saying that we have created the CodeCraft grant program to allow a young developing company to have a funded segment of the discovery of what their application is going to be doing in implementing the technology that we provide. Considering that it is a big task, it is also the reason why it makes sense to give a grant for it. But what the grant does not cover is the final development of the final product. That is the role of an angel investment round to provide the finalized product. So this is why we specifically define an MVP, which is a scaled down version of what you want to have in your application, created for the community to play around with. What does this mean? Well, let me give you an example. There was a racing car game that actually had the necessity to develop the dynamics of the motion of the car, and they wanted to implement the NFTs. But the idea was, and we spoke with them, and we said, like, look, the game as it is, it's really fun, but it should at this stage be displaying with the grant given what the NFTs are going to play as a role. So why not leave the game as it is with the hilarious effects of playing it with the dynamics of motion being wacky and so on, but being able to apply the concept of what role the NFTs play. That way the grant resolves one question, and that is the time spent on developing the NFT side of the project, and then the next kind of investment round can go and complete the whole thing. This is what the CodeCraft grant program is, and this is why we're creating these MVPs, which will participate in this CodeCraft grant, where people will come then and test some aspects of what is happening. Just as another example, Softlaw with their IP program will not be providing the complete application of submitting your intellectual property solutions or patents for final solution. They will make a mock-up site, which is the MVP that we asked for. They use the grant to develop the background idea of what the NFTs does, and they will make a very simplified presentation of what it looks like in your experience in the future, in the big application, what it's going to look like when you do want to create something, and so on. And this is what we're inviting all the teams to do, and this is the role of the CodeCraft program. This is why considering that the total funds needs to be distributed to as many developers as possible, we're kind of being very, we're trying to think through every single proposal so that everybody gets a chance to give it a try. I hope that makes sense.
Great, thank you, Philip. Thanks for that clarification. And all right, the next question is an interesting one. What is the thing that you are most excited about? We are kind of over the hour, but we'll take a quick round of this. In terms of unique Polkadot and overall market, I think each one of us can share a little bit about what we're excited about. I'm excited about the potential of NFT XCM and the use cases we eventually develop to use NFT XCM. And then I'm very excited about all the growth that will come through projects like Tap Nations. Alex, your favorites?
I try not to have a favorite, so I like all.
Okay.
No, seriously, as I said, we have a two-pronged strategy for growth, and that is, and both are very important because they both have a role to play. I'm mostly excited about seeing all these new use cases and all this innovation in action, and then hopefully influencing the next stage of technology and seeing where it's going to go. It's it's unpredictable to know where it's going to go, what's going to be the next thing, and that excites me most, actually.
Amazing. Philip, what excites you the most?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely the paradigm shift that I was talking about. Alex just named it in a different way. The new technology, the advanced features, they're shifting the way we're looking at this idea of a sovereign data record. The idea that NFT is not just a tradable thing, that it actually has a function, and seeing all these solutions pop up like mushrooms after a rain, that really excites me. And there's some of them have solutions which never even occurred to me at all. The soft law solution of real world asset creation and so on, and we're expecting much more of that. And I do really see a future where we're going to be even more surprised.
Amazing. Great, thanks. Well, with that much excitement, next question is, why are you still affiliated with Polkadot when most good projects are leaving and distancing themselves? Alex, do you want to take that?
I disagree with that statement that most good projects are leaving. Many are branching out. Okay, Astar has branched out. They are still in Polkadot, and they just have a new direction, and they have both, and that's okay. I think Monte is similar, and so on. To the author of this question, I would encourage you to read the Polkadot white paper again and think about what does the word interoperability mean, okay, in it. For me, it is very normal to the blockchains today, blockchain ecosystems. So take any of the top 30 blockchains, and everybody in it is going to be maximalist for that. A lot of projects there are going to be maximalist for it. But in the last 2 or 3 years, the smart guys have been going around and are building on many blockchains, creating that interoperability, and in the process, getting new users, getting new access to users, and so on. We are Polkadot native. We created NFTs in Polkadot, and we continue to lead that effort. And I think we will continue to do so because, yes, Polkadot has its challenges, but the house is not, the grass is not greener at your neighbors. Is the same grass. Many of other ecosystems are experiencing problems as well. Some are similar, some are different, and so on. But it's not that things are bad in Polkadot and they're good everywhere else or somewhere else. There are some good things, there are some bad things. The decentralization drive in Polkadot, I knew when they announced it that it's going to be negative in the very short term, and then it should be positive long term. And those changes from the chaos that was initially in place to having some good organizations kind of come up and learn and be better and things working better. That's happening. The blockchain ecosystem is requiring a lot of components. It's a very complex organism, and it requires a lot of things to work well. So, some things are working well already, and some are not yet, but they will get there. So I'm still very bullish on Polkadot because it has the quality. Those people that left, okay. But I think we still have a lot of very high quality teams and high quality people in the ecosystem who are in it for the long term. And I just simply don't listen to FUD. That's all.
Great, thank you. On that note, that was the last question submitted by the community, and we are a bit over the hour, but if you have any more questions, please feel free to post them on Telegram group or Twitter, and we will see you again soon. We promise there won't be that long gap this time, and we'll have a lot more updates to share. So thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, Alex, Philip. Thanks, Kevin and Esther, for all the support. Chris, thank you again for tuning in. And thanks everyone else.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.